This is Punk Rock and Politics, and today is April 4th, 2017, and this is episode number 17. Let's do this.
These days are strange, it's true.
I would bomb the shit out of them.
If you think that punk rock doesn't mix with politics, you're wrong.
You know, we could all sit in McDonald's in the future, get colon cancer listening to the phones, or we can really fuck these things, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome to Punk Rock and Politics. Today we're talking to Tibbie X and Kevin Knuckles from the band Reagan Youth about education, GMOs, and what anarchism looks like in today's society. Then on Open Mic's Last Call, we'll talk about the 2015 FCC regulations that have been repealed and will be signed into law by President Trump. So how will these newly relaxed regulations involve your internet service provider, your privacy, and corporations making more profit off your information? Well, we'll talk about that. So let's get to the political mosh pit. But first, here's the news of the week.
Here's what's making news.
Britain is leaving the European Union.
We are already a cyborg.
Congress voted to limit FCC regulations on internet service providers from collecting and selling their customers' data to the highest bidder. And President Trump is expected to sign the bill. Elon Musk wants to hook your brain up to a computer. With his new company, Neuralink, he plans to do just that. And here's Elon Musk talking at a convention earlier this month about the subject.
To some degree, we are already a cyborg. You think of like the digital tools that you have, your phone, your computer, the applications that you have, like the fact that, as I was mentioning earlier, you can ask a question and instantly get an answer from Google or from other things.
Neuralink is registered as a medical research company, and we'll keep a close eye on this story as it develops. Tuesday, a new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that was based on U.S. government data showing that the American diet is horrible. About 700,000 deaths in 2012 from heart disease, strokes, and diabetes, and on an analysis of national health surveys that asked participants about their eating habits. The study showed that most Americans eat an excess of bad foods. Foods or nutrients that were overeaten include salt and salty foods, processed meats including bacon, bologna, and hot dogs, red meat including steak and hamburgers, and salty drinks. Wednesday, Article 50 was triggered by Theresa May, which set a 2-year countdown till the UK will leave the EU.
A few minutes ago in Brussels, the United Kingdom's permanent representative to the EU handed a letter to the President of the European Council on my behalf, confirming the government's decision to invoke Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union. The Article 50 process is now underway, and in accordance with the wishes of the British people, the United Kingdom is leaving the European Union. This is an historic moment from which there can be no turning back. Britain is leaving the European Union.
And on this day in rock history, April 4th, 1968, James Brown made a national television appeal for calm and peace following the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that's the news of the week! I'm pretty sure if you ask anyone to list a few of the most influential political punk bands, Reagan Youth would always be mentioned. Reagan Youth is a political hardcore band that embraces the peace, love, and unity school of thought. The band formed in 1980 as it became obvious to the lead singer, Dave Insurgent, that Ronald Reagan was to become America's president. And the band's songs were about the evils of society, and the band's name was a play on Hitler Youth, comparing Reagan to Hitler due to the Republican Party's fascist tendencies. And today, over 3 decades later, politically, not much has changed. But as for Reagan Youth, the band's lineup may have changed over these years, but their music and philosophy stay the same. And thankfully, bands like Reagan Youth still play and promote anarchy, peace, and unity. I was able to talk to bassist Tibbie and drummer Kevin Knuckles about punk rock and politics. But before we get to the conversation, let's hear one of their songs. Here's In Dog We Trust by Reagan Youth. And that was Dog We Trust by Reagan Youth. And we have Tibbie X joining us here in the Punk Rock and Politics. Hey, what's up, Tibbie?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us here on Punk Rock and Politics.
Yeah, feel kind of like a jerk because it's Paul's band, Cripple, and, you know, it's just I couldn't organize it with the Skype with him. And Kevin Knuckles, our drummer, he's here, but he's sleeping, and scary to wake up a sleepy lion. So
yeah, we don't want to make anyone mad and wake anyone up from their naps. So, but it's okay. We're definitely cool. It's good to have your perspective on everything. So so the band Reagan Youth actually formed in 1980. And then it kind of separated when
Dave died.
Died. He passed away, and that basically lasted until 1990, and then it restarted up in 2006. Correct?
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you
Paul
joined. Huh?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, as Paul says, found the interest on MySpace and was psyched that people were still into the band, and he got it back together. So
yeah. Oh yeah. The band has definitely a huge underground following, and it always has. And then you joined. You're currently the bass player, and you joined in 2012 playing bass, right?
Yeah, is it 2012? 2011, 2012? Yeah, around there.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you would know better than me, but cool. Yeah. So you've been with the band for about 5 years, and you guys are actually about to head out on a European tour, correct?
Yeah, we're going to Europe. We're going to record some new songs that Paul wrote and get like a Euro album out. He has, I think it's 3 albums that he plans on putting out over the next 2 years of new songs. And we're touring also. We're going Germany, Italy. We're getting around, so it's really cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think right now is I've always loved political punk bands, and I think right now is definitely the perfect time for political punk bands. So I think it's awesome that you guys are definitely back and touring and doing everything. So how is like the European shows compared to the U.S. shows?
You know, it's hard because it's like it's different all over the U.S. and in Europe we play more festivals just because I think maybe they have more festivals or I don't know. So. I mean, we play such a variety of shows. We'll go from playing like, you know, like someone's basement party to playing like these huge festivals with like all the bands I grew up listening to playing like a bar. You know, we just love to play.
Yeah.
So wherever we end up, it's all right, you know?
Nice. Hey, yeah. I mean, that's so awesome, though, because a lot of bands, they get kind of so big that it's almost impossible for them to even play like a basement show or a house show. So it's really cool that you guys get to play everything and experience all the different diverse bands. So
yeah, I think what's cool, like, oh sorry, I was just gonna say, like, Paul's like so down to earth. He never has that like separation from the audience, so it's like we're accessible as people. You know, it's a political punk band. Like it's not like I don't know, like Aerosmith. You know, so
yeah.
It's like a different kind of world.
I think it, and like, yeah, just like I was saying before, I think right now it's so important to have political punk bands, and the younger generation, they definitely need it. So that's awesome you guys are playing, and that's rad. And you got to say what up to Paul for me. So let's play one more song
cool.
by Reagan Youth, and then we'll go into the political mosh pit. So here's speaking of USA, here's USA by the Reagan Youth. And that was USA by Reagan Youth. And I have Tibbie X, the current bass player for Reagan Youth, with us. And so, Tibbie, we're going to get into the political mosh pit right now.
All right.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like the federalization of education really that's going on right now?
I think education has been, you know, it became institutionalized. Maybe there's no way around that because there's so many kids and it's just the way society's set up. But the government kind of slipped in where people aren't paying attention, you know, with the kids and replaced a lot of, you know, the history books, viewpoints, and it's ComCore. It's what it's called. And you can look it up online. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff to downplay it, but I think it's very scary that the government has control to, you know, homogenize the education throughout the entire country and to threaten to fire teachers if they don't want to teach the government. It's terrifying, honestly.
Yeah.
It's in line with the way that slowly been taking control over through media and advertising and everything, but it's in the schools and not a lot of people know about it, and that's the part that's scary.
Definitely. And especially like like you said, it just kind of like the lack of history that they address, or they might brush over a lot of stuff that is really important, like the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
Right. Well, I mean, history has always been like nationalist. It's always been about men and war and land conquering, but now it's like Obama's speech has been added. It's like not like they're adding in the history of, different nationalities, how, people have moved here, immigration laws, anything like that. It's just more like, go America, be a happy worker, support, Bill Gates. It's more modern world advertising media in school now.
Well, yeah, because you almost have in every industry, you have the emergence of corporate power with whatever, the education system, or corporate power with anything. And then you have the donations from these NGOs, like you said, the Bill Gates. So that would be the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And then these, these corporate interests. Yeah, if they're giving money into the schools or into the military or anything, they're going to kind of want something in return, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, the purchasing of their products.
Yeah, there you go. I wasn't even thinking of that. That's almost creating children and students to become consumers.
Well, I mean, everything in our society is geared towards creating children as consumers. I mean, that's the next generation of capitalism. So, it makes sense to have it in schools. Like, there's always little things like vending machines in schools and stuff like that. But now it's like the actual textbooks are part of it.
Yeah, this textbook brought to you by Geico. No,
right.
Definitely. And you have... after No Child Left Behind, that, and then which turned basically the standardized scholastic tests into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
Yeah.
I read that there's really only been one publishing company for all of the books in the entire country for years, which I didn't even know about. But teachers still had the choice to, kind of have more of an individual curriculum. Mm-hmm. And now they don't.
Yeah.
And the language has been changed a lot too, and that separates the youth from their parents. So the language is different. So that's a communication barrier also. And I personally believe that's on purpose. Some people think that's conspiracy, taking it too far, but teach his own.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that people would kind of consider conspiracy, but it's just how the system is. Whether it's insanity and a bunch of crazy people running the world for capitalism and they're not thinking, or it's an elite cabal doing this, whatever it is, there's this horrible shit that's going on, and it doesn't make sense why as a society we'd be continually going in this direction. I mean, I like.
It's because it's easy.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally easy. It's
it's a society on comfort. Mm-hmm. So it's uncomfortable to see the truth and to act on the truth.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it's going that.
It definitely is uncomfortable. And this direction of constant consuming, it's not sustainable at all.
No, I mean, it's strange that we're responsible for the destruction of our own planet. It's there's no way around it, and it's I take part of it as much as anybody else does, as much as I don't want to. I mean, we have to exist, and these products exist, and we use them. Mm-hmm. It's just weird. It seems like we're not, I love that Simone song, Not of This Earth. It seems like we're the only ones destroying our own home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's so true. I mean, you don't see beavers going out and destroying their dam they're creating. It's definitely we're not in a sustainable balance with the earth. But I think the fact that our generation and then the generation under us, we recognize that this isn't right and we're hurting the earth. I think. What's the saying? Recognition of a problem is the first step in getting help.
Totally. I don't know. Sometimes I think all right, there's like a protest and then a whole bunch of people from the punk show go to McDonald's afterwards, or, the GMOs in food and stuff. And, it's food is just kind of brushed off as like, oh, shut up, go eat your health food. But like, that's really been like a huge part of, at least me, I should really wake up Kevin for this, but, not purchasing is like a personal protest that I believe works, and like not buying GMOs and fast food and giving money to these corporations that are really, really destroying our world on a mass scale.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point. You can vote, but voting once in a while will only do so much. Protesting will only do so much. But at the end of the day, we're in a capitalistic society, but not purchasing stuff will make the corporations change. It's as simple as that. So I think you're totally right. Another thing, I love all of the, I don't know if you know, like the Dakota Access Pipeline protests and all the anti-oil protests, but a lot of those protesters, they'll drive in their car to go to an anti-oil protest.
Right. Yeah. And it becomes like, it's part of life. Like how much, like the true anarchists or rebels would be completely cut off from all social media and, the modern world, and maybe living out in the woods. And, that's freaking awesome, but not everyone can do that.
Mm-hmm. And
so it becomes a balance, like choosing battles and,
yeah,
I guess, I don't know.
That's a really, I'm glad you brought up the like anarchist thing, because ever since I kind of started doing the show, I really noticed like the punk world. There's like two schools of thought. You have the socialist, the hardcore socialist punk world. NoFX and that group, and then you have the anarchist punks. Your band, Reagan Youth, and the Dead Kennedys and a few others. So I kind of, what do you think about the socialism versus anarchism? And do you think anarchy, do you think that is embodied with libertarianism now?
I don't know. Libertarians I know are very like close to Republican, and so
right?
I don't really know how to comment on that, because I got really confused with their views. I know they like Ayn Rand a lot, and that's cool.
Well, the libertarians that want no government whatsoever, they're super strict. I respect them because at least, I don't agree with them, but I respect them because they say what they want. But yeah, the closet Republicans who call themselves libertarians, I know exactly what you're talking about. So what do you think about the anarchy? How is that possible in today's society?
Well, I don't think it is entirely possible in today's society. Yeah. When I think about like what it would look like, if I personalize it, I picture, myself with my family, out maybe like, in the desert somewhere where there's land, armed, and like having some kind of like garden, growing our own food and protecting our property. Because I think things would have to get like real tribal for a pretty long time until everything was sorted out. If things were really going that way,
definitely.
There's too much power structure in place right now, and really like, people are mental from being poisoned. They're poisoned with food and media. Like our minds and bodies are sick. And pharmaceuticals, and it's such a bombardment constant that it would take, I don't even know, decades to clear all of that away, to have true, peace, love, and anarchy. I don't know. I don't even know if it's within human nature entirely, but I think striving towards something like that is really more, would heal a lot of the world.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think exactly what you said. Anarchy now almost is living off grid with a sustainable house, solar panel, having your own garden, being able to live for yourself, defend yourself and your family. And I also think that another great point, kind of which would apply to everything, is the decentralization of power. Just like you said with education, Because right now, especially this goes back to, the 2008 financial crash. They're like, oh, these banks are too big to fail. And then we go and bail them out. And now they're bigger than they were before 2008.
Right. And sometimes I think that it's all like part of some big plot. And it's like, oh, this was meant to create more control, like, Thing horrific like 9/11 and then the bridges and people out of cities and like closed up, more keeping track of people, like data mining on Facebook, and it's all about like seeing where the purchasing power is and keeping people kind of like lethargic and not moving around and traveling so much and just home, like happy enough, well fed, and working their jobs and watching TV.
It's the old saying, the Roman saying, bread and circus. You give them bread and circus. You give them enough food and a little entertainment, and they won't rebel.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's cool. Like Paul's always saying that the purpose of the band is to expose the evils of society, but to have a good time doing it, because there's nothing worse than being, put in a shitty situation by, people in power who are out to ruin your life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
That's the cool thing about Reagan Youth is like, protest, stand up for yourself, and have a good life and have a good time doing it.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind that. Definitely. Because, I'm like a political junkie. I love this. This is what I do. And then I also love music, so that's kind of why I created this, because it's bringing the two worlds together, and I enjoy this. But I can take in a lot of news, and after a while, man, it gets down and draining. So I can imagine why average people who don't even enjoy listening to the news can just tune it all out.
I'm like very, very isolated. I don't watch the news or listen to the radio or read newspapers. I kind of don't even know where the ideas come from a lot. I pretty much just travel around and talk to people. I think I just prefer to talk to people the most.
Well,
so, yeah.
I mean, you definitely know like what's going on. So I think that's the best way, because news and every newspapers, the news, they're owned by 6 major companies. So that's all filtered through a corporate lens of whatever you're going to get.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think at some point I read something about like whoever manufactures like, war machines, like owns one of the networks or something. And it just, everything clicked. I was like, oh, it's all the same thing. There's no separation. It's like media, religion, government. It's all one big company. Mm-hmm. It's not like separate entities. So, I don't want any part of any of it. I like music, playing music, and meeting people and art, and just trying to get by in life with my kid and my family. So
definitely. And I think that's probably, at the end of the day, the most important thing is just getting by, and providing for your family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chosen family or born family, whichever way,
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of friends, or they're so close, they're considered family. Yeah. So, well, all right. Well, I do have another. Okay. Will Trump make punk rock great again?
I don't think he has shit to do with anything. I think he's just like a face that's like a target. I think that everything has been messed up, and now, I think he was pretty much plotted to win no matter what, because it's a great distraction from everything has been going the way of his agenda anyway. I personally don't really think that Hillary would have changed things that much, anything different from him. So, I mean, they're friends.
Yeah.
So, punk rock's music's always been great.
Yes.
Maybe having a focal point of oppression is easier than having a more kind of like, abstract oppression.
Dude, that right there you go. I love that. That right there is like quotes. Trump is just blatant oppression, and then Hillary would be abstract oppression, or Obama, because a lot of like the protests and all this stuff, no one was protesting us bombing countries and killing children in all these other countries, or protesting Obama shipping immigrants out of the country. But then once Trump comes in, everyone wants to protest and is so upset. So It's, yeah,
Right,
abstract depression. I like that.
You know, maybe if anything, he's a good wake up call in the media to, you know, pay attention to what's going on. I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're totally right, and I love that quote. Punk rock's always been great. That's great. I like that. Oh yeah. Oh.
Now, when we tour with Dead Kennedys, they have a thing where they say punk's dead, and we have a thing where we say punk's not dead, and you know, it's like it's not. We're here. We're alive. It's you know, you can individualize your interpretation of what it means, and you know, it's as long as rebellion's alive, punk's alive. So
yeah.
That's.
Yeah, definitely. Hell yeah. Yes. And yeah, I think you're right. It's maybe not as big or as thriving as it was, but the scene and the community and the artists are always still there. So it just, you might have to look a little harder to find it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yes. I know you just woke up, but it's an interview, but we can't see you. Punk politics interview.
Oh, nice.
Kevin's awake.
Are we gonna get a little?
He can see us, but
a little word from Kevin. Cool. We're wrapping up. What do you want? What should we address? We were just asking if Trump will make punk rock great again. But she said you know a lot about GMOs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very aware of it, conscious of the issue. You know, not just for health. I think the Trump punk rock great again. I think that's a fucking joke on its face.
Nice. So as far as GMOs, do you think people should just avoid them altogether and go organic, or what's your thought on that?
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But then you got to be careful with the organic distinction too.
Yes.
Because that's necessarily 100%. And just because something is labeled organic just means that a farmer could afford that USDA distinction. It doesn't necessarily denote any like actual quality in the food product. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So possibly
the health allows some cross contamination, as far as I understand, with organic versus conventional. So it's like you can there is an open door there for organic supplies to really be threatened.
Yeah.
So I think you got to know I think it's more important to go to small farmers. There's a lot of people out there that are working really hard. They might not have the USDA organic distinction, but their product might be better than some of those companies that can afford that.
Right, and that might be local farmers or farmer markets that are close to you. I know you guys are in New York. Is there farmer markets and local farmers there?
We're kind of unfortunately in Philly right now.
Okay.
From New York.
Yeah, you're originally from New York. Okay, so you're in Philly right now. So are there a lot of farmer markets and whatnot there?
There are here. We call it. There's certain areas we call it a nutritional dead zone, where it's really hard to find anything that's not highly processed. But there are here.
Yeah,
we're very lucky in Pennsylvania. Yes, because of the Amish.
The Amish hook it up.
They may be boring to know how to slay some decent fucking food, tell you that much.
Right? Yeah. No shit. If society just crumbles, I guess the Amish, they'll totally be okay, huh?
Man, they're not even going to skip a beat. They're going to be like, what? They're not. No, like they won't even know. They don't have a phone.
You're right. They won't even know. Yeah. That's so funny. I've never even thought of that. Oh wow! But they have great organic food, huh? And
that's just they don't call it organic food. They just call it food. That's another thing that really pisses me off. Like I gotta walk around like some asshole, like I'm eating special food. Man, I'm eating food the grandparents ate, before World War II turned into a god awful chemical fucking mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's really what we eat. We eat chemical waste. We eat nuclear waste. We eat the byproduct of war machines. That's what we eat. Chemical fertilizers, artificial nitrates in the soil, all this shit. A lot of that comes from spent munitions, or it did historically anyway. And it's just fucking bad, man. And people treat me like I'm crazy because I only want the kids in my life eating organic food. But I think that everyone else is crazy for not questioning the companies, their products, their packaging, and really what their end game is.
It's easy to poison your child.
to not question who's feeding your child.
Yeah, and like just to put chemicals into like such a little kid and like not know the process and the long-term effects because some company full of strangers far away that wants to profit says that it's safe. You know, you wouldn't feed spoonfuls of just the chemicals isolated from the food to your child. So why is it okay to give it to them, you know, packed in a pleasant wrapper that looks cute? You know, it doesn't make any sense. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and there was a problem even before GMOs was preservatives, you know?
Yes.
We're just filters. That's what people are. Filters for ideas and products, you know?
Guinea pigs.
We're just, total guinea pigs. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for us, it's just like, a little ingredient in your prepackaged meal that tastes so good. But for them, it's billions of dollars in profit, you know? For them, it's control over the future, not just your body, your hearts, your minds, you know? Mm-hmm. And if people aren't even going to pay attention seriously to what they're putting in their bodies and who's making millions and billions of dollars off it, then who gives a fuck what they fucking think about punk rock or the president? You know what I'm saying? Wake the fuck up.
You're
I'm
right.
talking about punk rock to damn, you know?
Yeah, you're right, because if you're not taking control of your body and taking care of your body, how can you take care or control or change anything else?
If you think this is cool, but then you find yourself in line at McDonald's, then fuck you. I mean, my personal opinion. You know what I mean? My personal opinion. But if you think you're in the Fiend Club and you fucking get in line at McDonald's, I don't know, maybe you really are in the fucking Fiend Club. I don't fucking know. That's some weird shit. There ain't nothing punk rock about eating the corporate fucking poisons, about turning on the TV and arguing. You know, like, I'm not even going to talk about any of the hot topics that are going on in the world right now, because fuck that shit. Those are all issues that have been predetermined for us to discuss, you know?
Yeah.
So let's talk about something else. Let's talk about all the shit that's not being talked about. For one, GMOs.
Yeah.
There couldn't be anything more punk rock than just like changing the way you spend your money and changing the future with that money that you spend, you know?
Exactly.
It can look like, you know, we could all sit in McDonald's in the future getting colon cancer listening to the Ramones, or we can really fucking do something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally agree with you. And a lot, like you're saying, a lot of the pesticides and stuff that they do use, that's just old chemicals or nuclear waste or byproducts that they couldn't get rid of, so they end up using it. Monsanto uses it for their pesticides on their food.
We're garbage cans for larger companies, and they really want our children as garbage cans because, like, we're done, and they're going to be around longer, and that's the next generation of, you know, their profit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, and if you get sick, all the better.
Pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical.
Exactly.
You know,
oh, God, yeah, that's a whole nother issue. They don't want to actually have people prevent their sickness. They want people to get sick and then fix that because that makes more money.
They just want to butcher knowledge and truth, just generally. They just want everyone to have to buy everything they say and sell hook, line, and sinker. They don't want anyone to have any knowledge. They want to separate us from ourselves, separate us from each other, and butcher truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And before, in the past, like, hundreds, thousands of years ago, whatever, it's the church, it's religion, it's whatever. And today, it's like they realize that we're not like that superstitious. They can't control us like that. So, hey, you know what? McDonald's tastes good. Comedy Central is funny. And, you know, you're not going against the grain. If you're a lady boy these days, it doesn't matter. You can do no wrong. You get a trophy if you come in last. It doesn't matter. Everything's fine. Just feel good. Buy the product. It's all good. It's all good, everybody. You're all good.
I think the religion still is like so infiltrated into the minds of people to stay passive and to not fight things because you're taught, you know, humility, toil, vanity is a sin. You know, it's like a good thing to take a passive role and, you know, to let others control you, like God, or in God we trust.
Because after
you know,
you die, because after you die, you know, then it will be good, right? That's kind of what the Christians, once I go to heaven, or, you know, the Muslims, once I die, I'll get this. I think that religion puts that in people's head. I think you're totally right on that.
Yeah. I think everyone's fucked. And I think the government's co-opted everyone too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I meant by you can do no wrong these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, people really that the government's there for you, you know? Like the government's standing up for your rights, equality. They're going to protect you from the evil Republicans. It's all the same. They're all the same goddamn people.
Yeah.
They just need to control the debate. They need us thinking that they're all against each other, but they're all for the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tibbie said, you know?
Yep.
They're all going to sit, whether it's on the left or the right, when they want your vote, they're all praying to the same God. And that God is taking the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the wars are all the same.
Oh yeah. Both parties work for the same corporate elite. I mean that's so obvious now.
Work for the dollar. We all work for the dollar.
Yeah.
Even us, like Tibbie and I hate the dollar. We don't want to work for the dollar. Holy shit, I hate dollars.
I feel you. Yep. So I think we're kind of talking about this right before you woke up. So true like anarchism now would be kind of living off the grid, having your own farm. What do you think about that?
Like our dream.
Yeah, that's basically.
You think that's like true? You think that's true anarchism in our society? That would be it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Living off the grid.
Yeah,
find as much as you can on yourself and your close social network, like your tribe.
Your tribe.
Yes.
You know?
That's another thing we're seeing. The decentralization of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah. Well. Sweet. Well, I'm going to let you guys go so I don't take up too much of your time. We had a really awesome conversation. I'm glad Kevin woke up and was able to add to the conversation. That was great. Because I think GMOs...
I'm glad I jumped in there too.
Yeah, I know. We just we got that little bonus at the end right there. Because... Yeah, GMOs is so important, and eating healthy and taking care of your own body and your own family is so important. And I think you're totally right. People will try to protest shit, and then they'll go to McDonald's or something, and it's like, man, that's not gonna. You're not changing the system like that.
Yeah, it's so true. Like I used to be very heavily involved in political activism in a lot of different fronts, but one of the things that always bothered me was that people would want to congregate at a Denny's, you know, and fight them, and it's like, what in the actual fuck? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're gonna go anywhere. You should go to Union Hall. You know what I mean?
Man, you know, like I don't know.
Or I don't know. Organize out in a park, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking earlier today about those Occupy people that got robbed by all the bombs.
Yeah, and Philly. I mean, this is very Philly. That the homeless guys robbed the Occupy people back in the when they were doing that. I guess that was like
really?
2008.
2011.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they set up a shanty town, you know, pretty close to the Occupy people, and I was like, that makes total sense, you know?
Hell yeah. They were giving out free food and shit at Occupy.
That's another thing to keep in mind, like, you know, if I could help, like, you know, everyone has, I think, a romantic view of anarchy, you know what I'm saying? But what that really means is that you're free to fuck up, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to bail you out.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's scary.
And so a lot of
for
people run around like, oh shit, anarchy, violence, destroy, break, smash. I tell you, like, if I'm an anarchist and I live on a farm and you come trying to break, smash, fuck with my shit, I'm definitely take you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's just not cool. Yeah.
In fact, it's about natural order. It's about natural law, which means if you come with respect and truth and honor, that's what you'll get. If you come with bullshit, that's what you're going to get.
That's why, like, Reagan Youth is always peace, love, and anarchy. Like, it's not that we're hippies, because we don't really get along like that. It's just what would be necessary to maintain a world, you know, without having crazy control freaks, like, driven by money in charge of our lives.
Oh, yeah. Just like the golden rule, man. Treat other people how you want to be treated, I suppose.
That's exactly right, man. It's like the Wild West with Reagan Youth. An armed society is a fighting society.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I love that. All right, well, before I let you guys go, man, where's everyone, the best place people can go to find, like, your music online and future tour dates? Like, the website?
Yeah, I guess Find Beatrice.
No, the Reagan Youth website is where Beatrice puts everything online.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys are big enough. I'm sure you just Google Reagan Youth, you could find, and you guys have a bunch of tours. I know you're playing out here in Southern California coming up, so definitely everyone should go out, check them out. there live and rocking and fucking anarchy and having fun, right?
Yeah, we're real shit, bro. We're having fun. We like to party with all you guys and fucking
We
play
love
all
it.
those classic hits that everyone loves.
Yes.
It's the best. And we got to get Paul on here. I just...
He's the best. You really got to interview Paul.
I
interview
do.
Paul.
I do.
I'll set you up with Paul. Gotta happen.
Definitely. I'll keep in contact with you guys once you're out here. Once you're out in Southern California, maybe you could set something up. But I'm going to let you guys go. And thanks so much for coming on Punk Rock and Politics.
All right. Thanks. Thanks much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And here we're going to play No Class by Reagan Youth. Yes. All right. Give it up again for Reagan Youth. Thanks a lot. I want to thank again Tibbie and Kevin for coming on Punk Rock and Politics. That was really awesome. I'm glad we talked about GMOs, brought that up, and I like how Kevin said, that's not really what people want to talk about. It's not in the news, and it's definitely true. A lot of people don't want to talk about GMOs and about health food, and so it's definitely was a good topic that we brought up, and now we're welcome to open mics. Last call. We're going to wrap up this episode and kind of talk about the Internet Service Provider Bill, ISP, that was just passed. So basically, like always, there is a mass freak out throughout the internet on YouTube and articles being written. And then people were sharing things with me saying, oh man, look, all of our internet privacy is gone. And the Congress, the politicians are selling us out to the highest bidder for not even that much money. This is crazy. And what's going on? And I was kind of like, well, what do you mean? Like, are you looking at WikiLeaks that said the CIA is spying on everything? Or are you talking about Edward Snowden's release that said that the NSA is spying on all of us? So which government agency? Oh, no. Okay, it's the corporations. Okay. So at first, and then when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. And I freaked out. And then, like always, a few days went by and I kind of read more and looked into it a little bit more. And now I have come to the conclusion that yes, it's definitely horrible that they passed that. However, being tracked and everything has already been in existence for several years. So we're already all are already being tracked and watched, surveilled, no matter what. So the fact that now it's just for the corporations for their monetary gain instead of for some sort of like police state being able to just spy on people. So it's kind of interesting how now when people are like, now the corporations could do it for monetary gain, be able to sell your information, your data information online, that you go, your internet web browsing history, and then also your applications, also your geolocation with your phone. So they're able to sell this information to third-party groups. So a lot of funny things that, like, I forgot what head of what company was saying, and then a lot of YouTubers were saying how they're gonna get money and put all this money together and actually crowdsource a campaign and buy a lot of the politicians' web browsing history, which I think is pretty funny, and I'm totally for that. Okay, so, but here's the thing. The freak out is a little bit overboard because, like I said, this was already in existence before, and everyone has to realize in today's society, we really have no privacy whatsoever. Privacy is basically non-existent, whether it's willingly, with people checking in on Facebook with their Facebook check-in and sharing pictures on Instagram about where they are, or whether it's unwillingly, and it's with the government spying on you and watching you, either through emails or your Facebook conversations messaging being given to the CIA from Facebook. No matter what it is, everyone is being spied on already for the fascist police state, but now we're just going to be spied on to make more money and help the advertisers be able to do more target micro advertising because, we're all just consumers and we're in a consumer-based society. 70% of our economy is based on consumerism, consuming. So we don't make anything. Our economy is driven basically by consuming and buying stuff, and the military-industrial complex is the other big chunk. So the big one, this is from Fortune magazine, and this is really what the big deal is. I'll read it from here. The fight over privacy sets the stage for an even larger battle later this year over Republican plans to overturn the net neutrality provisions adopted by the administration of former President Obama in 2015. So that is what I'm more concerned about. I mean, because honestly, with this whole data mining, with the internet providers doing that, like, if anything, I know this sounds crazy, but if anything, it's going to basically make, because they're going to be selling people's information, and internet is only going to get more expensive because speeds are going to have to go up. More people are going to want to be buying the product. Less people are getting cable, and cable basically subsidizes the price for the internet because to deliver cable is essentially free, whereas to deliver internet and the broadband it costs a lot of money to build that infrastructure and to be able to deliver it to people, especially if they want a high package. So that's why a lot of times when you get your TV, cable, they bundle it, because the people who are basically buying cable and only cable, they're subsidizing the internet usage. So now these large conglomerates, AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, they're going to be able to sell everyone's information in bundles under a mail, this, that, age, whatever, is interested in this, and they'll be able to sell that to everyone, or any third buyer groups, so then they could micro target people better. So that's basically what it's about. And what I'm thinking is, by Verizon being able to sell this information, it's more just about profit and monetary gain, and then them being able to use this money to subsidize offering you the next iPhone 8 for only $100. See, you have to wonder, what are they doing to be able to offer you these products that really realistically should cost thousands of dollars? And let's not talk about the slave labor that's we're using to make these. So if we actually use actual real wage labor, that it wasn't slaved produced, the iPhone, and then also the products, it would be thousands of dollars. So people don't want to pay that huge price, so they're totally content with selling a little bit of their privacy away. And I think it's kind of like a little bit happens at a time, and then when this bill passed, everyone freaks out because they finally have realized, oh man, like, this is how much of our freedom that is gone, that everything I do online is basically just for sale to the highest bidder. And then a lot of questions were with HIPAA laws and how that's going to work. So who knows? We're in uncharted territory, but we're already being spied on. We're already being micro-targeted for ads in Facebook. You know, why do you think any of these things are free? Because they have to use your information to sell to make the product free. So the fact that we're having a free Facebook eliminates any privacy you have. So the only solution to this would be to create some sort of private run third party, like open source Facebook that everyone can kind of contribute, or one that's you pay and then they don't do any data mining or data sailing. But people don't want to pay to use a Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat because we've been so conditioned to have it for free that we just love that free feeling, which is horrible. But I mean, that's the way we are. So ISP passing isn't a big deal, but the net neutrality that they're going to be doing later in this year is a big deal, because that is what can actually slow down a small news source. Their internet website speed will go slower than CNN or Fox News. And also if a mom and pop delivery service wanted to compete against Amazon, I don't know why anyone would want to, but let's say if they did, they would start up a website and then they'd have to pay a bunch of money to Google to be on their high up on the search area, but then they would also have to pay a lot to their internet service provider, their ISP, to basically have a faster speed on their website, where to just compete with Amazon. And who knows how much the price on getting your website to load faster would be. And that takes away the fact that the internet is free and for everyone. So I'm going to wrap it up, but that's definitely, I think that's way a bigger deal, way more of a bigger deal. I think people should kind of, this whole Congress selling us out is definitely a thing. However, Congress sold us out so long ago. Like, people are acting like, oh, we have no privacy, Congress sold us out. No, dude. All that happened a long time ago. People are just finally waking up to the fact that it's happening because these bills are so egregious. It's like, they're like, what? People are finally waking up, I hope. So, all right, let's wrap it up. But thanks again for everyone listening, and we'll check you next week. This is Open Mic's Last Call and Punk Rock and Politics. Peace. Thanks for checking out Punk Rock and Politics. If you enjoyed the show and the information brought to you, please subscribe and share the podcast. It helps us here at Punk Rock and Politics, but more importantly, it helps the featured bands gain exposure. Also, if you know any bands or musicians who would like to join the political mosh pit and have their music featured on the Punk Rock and Politics podcast, please email us at punkrockandpolitics@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. And rock on, political junkies.
I think all our society is run by insane people for insane objectives.
Doing a better job of talking to each other. The left hand now knows what the right hand is doing.
Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.